Alright, so today I'll show you how to build your own Runelite, which includes your own plugins or any plugin really, and I'll use the TOB plugins from Exact as example. So what you're going to want to do is create a new map folder, somewhere. I'll just call my Runelite and put it on my desktop. These are my hints. Inside this folder, first you're going to need Git installed. I'm going to be using Git bash, so I won't be installing that right now, but make sure when you install it, I'll put the link in the description. Make sure when you install it, you check the checkbox for being able to use Git through CMD. So when you type Git version, it works. Git actually works in CMD too, not just in Git bash, but for now we'll mostly use Git bash, but make sure this works, otherwise the .bat scripts later won't work. Another thing we'll need is Maven, which is this link. I'll put it in the description as well. You're gonna want to click download, and if you're on Windows, you're gonna want to download the second one. So I'll just put that inside the folder as well, and this can take a while. It looks like it's done, but it's actually not done, and it'll take a while probably to finish. I already have Git installed. Also make sure you have Java installed, so you can check if Java is installed by typing this and checking if it works. I have both 32-bit and 64-bit. It doesn't really matter, but make sure you have either one. I guess while waiting for the download, the download is done. Okay, so make sure you extract this. I use 7-zip to extract, but it doesn't really matter if you use WinRAR or 7-zip. You can delete the zip after. Now we're gonna have to set the environment variable to Maven, so we can actually type Maven and it will, well, okay, mine is already set, but I'll do it again, and it will recognize this, because mostly if you type this and the environment variable is not set yet, it will not recognize this. So as you can see, mine is already set, it's working. Anyway, you can press start and type in environment variables, edit the system environment variables, and you're gonna need administrator permission for that. Click on environment variables, and I'm gonna be editing the user variables, not the system variables, because this is a lot easier to fuck up, and if you do fuck this one up, yeah, that's kind of bad. So this one is a lot better to change. But then again, this one is only for the user, so if you're gonna log on to another user on your computer, you're gonna have to do it again if you're building on that user. So mine is at the bottom here. I'll delete it and do it again. You're gonna want to click new and then click browse, and then go to the where this folder is, and then go inside the bin. So make sure you link it to inside the bin folder. And as you can see now, the path is complete. So once you've done that, click OK and OK. And right now the Maven is already, I'm using Git bash for this, but you can use CMD to check. Maven is recognized. You might run into an error here where it cannot find the Java home environment variable. If that's the case, I recommend going back to the Maven site and click on install and follow the Windows tips, because that talks about the Java home environment variable. I didn't have to set mine, surprisingly, on Windows 10. I don't know why, but it just worked out of the box. I've seen it not work on Windows 7 though, so you might have to set it. It's set in the same place as the Maven environment variable, but it would be at yeah, there would be a %sign Java home %sign environment variable right there, and you would have to set it. Make sure you set it to the GDK folder and not the GDK /bin folder. just like they do here. Make sure you set it like they do here, but don't literally copy, because this version is probably not going to be the same. So next up, you're going to want to go back to Runelite and open a git bash. If you've downloaded and installed git bash, there would be a right-click entry. I'm not sure if it's the exact same, but the icon is probably the same, so make sure you open the git bash. And to download the source code, I'm going to be downloading from Git through git bash. You can download it manually from the GitHub of Runelite, but I don't advise on doing that, because you would have to download the source code every game update or every Runelite update to rebuild it with the newest code. And doing it this way, we can later on automate it with a batch script. So yeah, I'm gonna be, I'll put all of this in the description. I'm gonna be downloading Runelite through this command. Basically, I'll just clone the Git repository, and it will download the source code, so it might take a while if you have slow internet. Alright, so now I have all the Runelite source code in here. We're gonna continue inside this folder, so change directory to that folder. Mine is just called Runelite. So change direction and hit enter. And you're gonna see it recognizes the Git repository right here. Next up, you would have to add Runelite as a remote. Make sure this name upstream matches the one I'm using. I mean, it's fine to use upstream, but you'd have to use upstream everywhere. I use Runelite, or almost everywhere. So remote add Runelite, and then git pull Runelite master. Alright, so now it will have the get hooks to pull Runelite whenever it updates, or whenever you want to, really. Now we're just gonna make a batch script to, well, no, actually let's first download the plugins. So I can build it once and show you the plugins work. Credit to this guy for making these plugins. Really great plugins. He just put the source code for just the plugin on his Git, so I can put it inside the plugins folder right away in Runelite. Make sure you download this zip and put it inside the Runelite folder. Alright, so extract it. You can extract here or extract in the custom plugins. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna extract here. You can throw away this zip again, and then you're gonna want to copy this or cut and go inside Runelite, go inside runelite-client, source, main, java, net, runelite-client, and then we have a folder called plugins. So this is where all the plugins reside, and you're gonna want to paste those plugins here. So these are all the source codes of the plugins. You can, as you can see, they're all in .java, as do these ones. So this is all source code. We now have to build the actual client. So what you're gonna want to do is, actually we'll create a batch script for building it, so which also fetches the newest Runelite code. So you can just execute that batch script every game update. I'm gonna put it, or I'm gonna create a, I'm gonna call it maven-build Runelite, really. And what we'll make this do is actually both get the newest Runelite code and build through Maven. So this is the only thing you have to use to update Runelite every Thursday. And I'm gonna copy this. So basically what is this? First it changes the directory, because this is a batch script, and if you execute from here, the directory you're going to be starting from is here, but that's not what we want. We want the dictionary where we're starting from to be here, because this is where Maven resides, or I mean the Maven project. So you're going to want to change this. You don't have to keep the quotes unless there is a space in your path. If there's a space in your path, you're going to have to keep the quotes. But anyway, you're gonna want to go to this folder and copy the path and put it in here and save the file. Basically what this does is change the dictionary to the Runelite folder, and then this fetches the newest Runelite source code. So after Runelite put out an update, you have to run this to fetch that update, and then I'm rebasing, but you can also merge. Basically what merge and rebase does, or generally what they both do, is merge your code, the source code you have here, and the whatever the source code is on the current Runelite master branch, which you just fetched. Merging would mean it would actually create a new commit if something is different, or well, pretty much always create a new commit just for that merge, which makes it easier to revert. Reverting a rebase is really hard, but then again, you're not left with any commits. It's kind of like stacking whatever you have on top of whatever Runelite has, which I think is easier. But yeah, you have to make sure there are no conflicts, and if there are conflicts, you have to fix those first. Then it will ask you if you want to build. Basically why I do this is because this can go wrong, and it will tell you when it goes wrong. And if it does goes wrong, building it is just a waste of time because it's going to crash anyway. So if this goes wrong, just type anything or anything else than Y, or just click the cross, really. If this goes right, then just type 1Y and press enter, and it will start building Maven with this command. I'm using the clean parameter for Maven, which means that there is no build folder yet, but whatever's inside the build folder, in the target folder, here would be a target folder, whatever inside there, it would be erased every time you run this. So make sure you don't put the bad script inside there, but it doesn't exist yet, so that's no problem right now. So yeah, basically execute this, and okay, so this means it's already up to date. We didn't fetch anything new from Runelite, so we don't really have to rebase. So we can press Y and it will start building. This will take, well, it will depend on your computer how long it takes, but as soon as it's done, this window will close itself. So unless an error happens, I'm pretty sure if an error happens, then it will not close itself. But then again, I haven't had an error in a long time, so I don't really know actually. It will close itself, so as soon as this one disappears, I know it's done building. So yeah, we'll have to wait for that. I can create or start on the batch script that will run Runelite already. I'll just call it Runelite, really. So yeah, basically, because you're not gonna get a exe like you would have from the Runelite side, you could technically run the .jar if you have the Java correctly installed, but you would not have access to developer plugins, and you would have to go inside this entire folder structure. Like, you have to go through this entire folder structure again every time you want to open it. So I think it's easier to just create a bed. And also what this bed will do is automatically select the highest version number, because every time Runelite updates, the version number of Runelite will also update, and the file name would be different, which doesn't matter if you're gonna click it manually, but it does matter if you wanna do it through a batch script. So I'll put this in here. As you can see, I already enabled developer mode. You can leave this out, and not enable developer mode for the developer plugin. It does not really matter. You're gonna want to set this path to runelite, and then you're gonna want to go to the build folder. So runelite-client, target, and this is the build folder. As you can see, it's pretty much done building, or not yet, but it already created the runelite-client files. You want to copy this path and put it in wrong one. Put it in here, and make sure you include the double backslash at the end. This is the, as you can see, this is matching the client dash is matching the first part, then the version number dash snapshot would come in, and then a dash shaded, because this is going to be the runelite client. It does have a dependency on this, so if you're going to share this client with someone, you have to give both to them, and they have to be in the same folder. But you're gonna want to run this one because this is the actual client. This is the javaw executable. You could use Java for this, but I'll show you in a second what the difference is, because using Java would mean you would have the client log open at all times, and if you close the client log, the client will also close. So yeah, I use javaw more as a standalone. So you're gonna want to go to the location of the javaw. I'll use 32-bit actually, because 64-bit is known to crash sometimes. I mean, to crash RuneScape sometimes. It's on jagex's side really. So go to the GDK, go to the bin folder, and here is javaw residing. So make sure you copy this and put it inside the double quotes here. Oh, make sure you include the javaw.exe as well. Basically what this does is search for the highest version number, and if there's no version number, it's going to be 0 and it's not going to open anything. Or it's going to try to open a client with version number 0, which doesn't exist, so nothing will happen really. And here we actually start the client. This is the line, this is the only line you would need to actually start the client. This is for searching the version, and this is for setting the variables that are used right here. These are Java runtime parameters. You don't need those, but I gave those parameters to make sure Java has the space in the RAM available, so it doesn't have to garbage collect aggressively. It might help with performance, but it might not, so you can leave these out. This again triggers the developer mode, so it's on. This is going to be replaced by the, well, basically this name, including the extension and path. This is going to be replaced by this, obviously. So that is done. Our client is also done building, so make sure you save that. And now you can run the client by clicking on this bat. And as you can see, it disappears right away because that's javaw in combination with the start command. And Runelite will start up any second. The first time might take a while. As you can see, developer tools are enabled, and the plugins are also installed. I do have to warn you though, because this client does share your settings with the official client you've downloaded from runelite.net. So whatever settings you change here will also affect the settings inside your actual Runelite client. But if this client doesn't work, you can still use the official Runelite client. The only thing they share are the .runelite folder inside your user folder, nothing else really. So the last thing I want to show you, like, you're pretty much done, but the last thing I want to show you is how to create a .exe from this bat, and you only need a tool that already comes with Windows pre-installed. If you might ask, why turn this into an exe? Well, you cannot really give an icon to this. You would need to create a shortcut, then you can give an icon to it. But if you care about that sort of stuff, it doesn't really matter. But the main part is you cannot put this on your taskbar. Windows doesn't allow you to put a .bat or a .char on your taskbar, and neither does it allow you to put it on start. I cannot pin it to start. So that's why I make this into an exe so I can pin it to start and pin it to my taskbar really. So you're gonna want to go, if you want to do that, you're gonna want to go to Windows and System 32, and I'm gonna search for the program because I don't know the name on the top of my head. Oh, okay, so it's called IDE express.exe. Oh shit. IDE express.exe. Now whatever, I'll search for it. IDE. Ah, there we go. So you can double click this exe really. I must warn you though, if you're gonna change the bed, you have to do this again because it will package the bed. It will not link to the bed. I mean .bed. This doesn't really matter. Just call it runelite really. No prompt. Do not display license. You're gonna want to go to wherever your bed is and package it. No post install. You need to start like this. Alright. No message. Oh, wait. Sorry. We'll call it runelite.exe. Yes, and no restart. Don't save the SAD file, you don't need that. Really? Oh, okay. I didn't open it as administrator, so it doesn't actually have permissions to create that. So once that is done, you now have a exe right there, and you can double click that exe and it will open Runelite. There you go. You can also, if you create you can pin it to start. You can also create a shortcut. Call it exe as well, and you can pin this shortcut to start, and you can also change the icon to Runelite's icon, which I think is neat. There we go, it totally looks like Runelite, and you can put that on your taskbar. And it will still work. So yeah, that's how you create the bat script and the exe. So yeah, if you ever change this, you're gonna have to do this again because this one has the old bat in that case. But that's why I created this for automatically looking at the highest version number, so you don't have to change it. I was going to show you what happens when you use Java instead of javaw. Basically, it will show the client logs in the background, and you cannot close this and keep the client open, because if you close this, then the client will also close. So yeah, that's why I use javaw. So about updating Runelite. Yeah, every Thursday the game updates, and Runelite might also update, probably. So far they have every Thursday. You can update Runelite more often if you want, but you don't have to. I mean, make sure you do make update Runelite after a game update though, after Runelite updated also for the game update, because if not, then you might have old game scripts and the game might crash on random moments or behave unexpectedly. So yeah, how do you update? Well, basically, if you know Runelite has updated, and you can sort of check by going to their Git and trying to find if these two commits, they look like this really. It's maven release plugin, prepare release Runelite, and then the version number, and then this one too. If these two have passed, then usually Runelite has updated. Sometimes something manual has to be fixed too, so you still have to wait. But yeah, if these two passed, then in commits on the master branch, you are safe to update Runelite, and you're gonna have to update Runelite, which you can play the game safely again with. If that's the case, you just double click this path really, and it will fetch the code again, so including those new commits, and then rebase it on your code. And if you have a lot of plugins, some merge conflicts might occur because Runelite did something that collides with whatever you did, and in that case you would have to fix it before you build, obviously. But this is not the case because I'm on a fresh Runelite right now, so I can just build again, but I'm not going to right now, so just type no. Something I also wanted to show you is how to easily, very easily, pick a pull request of Runelite, because sometimes you just want a pull request and you want it in your client, but the mods are not gonna do that, or are too lazy to do it, I don't know. I'm gonna show you how to do that, because it's really easy. I'll pick this one really, because it's a plugin. So what you want to do is go back to wherever your Runelite folder is. I mean this Runelite folder with the actual source code, and open a git bash. And you're gonna want to type git fetch Runelite, because we called our remote Runelite pull, and then slash, and then you want to make sure you get the ID of the pull request, which in this case is the number in the link right here, or the number at the pull request. It's the same number, so it's 7912, and then type head, and then a colon, and you can give it any name you want. It's gonna be the name of the branch on your Git, so I'm gonna call it item goals plugin. Really, it doesn't really matter. Just it has to be unique though, so if you have another branch that's got the same, it's gonna throw you an error, and it will fetch the code, and it will create me a branch item goals plugin. So now I can code to that branch if I want. So I just switch to the branch. That means all my source code inside this folder is exactly the same as this guy put it on his pull request, or had it on his pull request. But that's not what we want, because we want to apply it to what we have, or most of the time you want to apply what you have to what you have. So what you're gonna do is, again, you can both merge or rebase. I'll rebase because I know this one doesn't have merge conflict, so it's just gonna rebase nicely. As you can see, all checks have passed. Otherwise, it would say merge conflict right here. So rebase, and then call the branch name item goals. I'm using tab, by the way, to autocomplete. If you type a certain amount of letters you can autocomplete if it's unique. Press enter. And yeah, so it will only show if there's a lot of commits that needs to be done, it will show it here, but there are not a lot of commits, and it basically added that plugin to my Runelite now. So all you need to do now is go back to your folder with the bat script and run the maven-build. So once you do that, as you can see, it applied the commits of the pull request. So it actually had to do some work for rebasing. This adds to the amount of time. So yeah, if you have a lot of pull requests rebased or merged, this is gonna take a while every Thursday, but that's just how it is. And then you're gonna type IDE and you're gonna start the build. If for some reason merge conflict happened, it would show an error. I mean, I cannot scroll up, but it will show an error right about there, or it would just give you another message that is not as clean. So yeah, that's basically how you add pull requests and keep your Runelite up to date.